In the heart of old Prague, where rain glides down cobblestone streets like veins of time, there stood a forgotten pawn shop. Inside, among rusted clocks and cracked mirrors, rested a camera. Its metal was cold, almost alive. People said it hummed at night. No one touched it until Elias Kor walked in.
Elias was a failed photographer. He once dreamed of being remembered, but all he earned was rejection and loneliness. The camera drew him like a whisper calling his name. When he looked into its cracked lens, he didn't see his reflection. He saw a shadow standing behind him. He blinked, and it was gone.
The old man behind the counter spoke softly. That camera took more than pictures. The last owner vanished after photographing himself. Elias smiled bitterly. Superstition meant nothing to a man who had already lost everything. He paid the man, took the camera, and left. Behind him, the pawnkeeper locked the door and muttered a prayer. In his small apartment, Elias set up his old darkroom. He photographed a street musician, an old woman playing the violin. But when the image developed, she wasn't alone. A black figure stood beside her, faceless, tall, and reaching. Elias thought it was a double exposure until the woman was found dead that night.
That night, Elias woke to a faint sound. Click, click, click. The camera was taking pictures by itself. When he checked the film, every frame showed his apartment, empty, except for a figure standing right behind where he had been sleeping.
Elias continued to photograph. Each picture grew darker. The smiles of his subjects twisted into silent screams when developed. Their eyes were lifeless. The next day, each one of them died mysteriously. He started to realize the camera wasn't capturing moments. It was stealing souls. A local gallery offered to exhibit his work. The collection was titled The Faces of Silence. Crowds came. They stared too long. Some fainted, some cried, and one man dropped dead. When his body was found, his expression matched the terror of those inside Elias's photos. The world fell in love with Elias's art. Critics called him the Eye of Fear. He sold every piece. But every night, when he looked in the mirror, he saw something new. An extra shadow behind him, growing clearer, closer. Then his favorite model, Clara, disappeared. Her last photo showed her mid-laugh, a soft glow in her eyes. But in the photo's background, her reflection looked terrified. When the police asked questions, Elias couldn't explain the strange energy that filled his darkroom. He returned to the pawn shop. The old man's chair was empty. Only a note remained. "You've accepted the lens of the devil. Every shot you take feeds him." Elias realized he wasn't just using a cursed object. He had become part of its purpose. Digging through old archives, he found the story of a monk in 1893. The monk built a lens that sees souls and offered his own to the darkness. The first photo he took burned through the paper. The monastery was sealed, the monk erased from record.
Elias now owned that same lens.
Elias decided to destroy the curse. He set up the camera and aimed it at his mirror. He pressed the shutter. The flash exploded like lightning, and for a second, he saw himself screaming from inside the mirror. The next moment, the mirror cracked, but the camera was gone. He found the camera in another room, broken but still humming softly. Even shattered, it clicked on its own. He wrapped it in cloth, buried it deep behind his home, and swore never to touch it again. But the clicking never stopped. Every night, faintly under the floorboards, click, click, click. Years later, a child digging behind that same house found a box. Inside, dust, old film rolls, and a single note. Do not look through the glass.
When the boy developed the photo, his mother's reflection didn't appear. He thought it was broken, but the next morning, she was gone. The only thing left was her face, frozen inside the developed picture. The boy began hearing whispers, "Another soul captured." Every night, a soft red light filled his room, and the camera started taking pictures on its own again of him. Before Elias vanished, he had written one last note, found years later by a historian. "Burn the photographs. They are not memories. They are prisons. Each one holds a soul that can never rest." A century later, a wealthy art collector discovered Elias's negatives. He decided to restore them, calling it the Lost Works of Elias Core. The photos were scheduled for a grand public exhibition. Thousands attended. Music played softly as visitors admired the haunting portraits. But as the night went on, cameras malfunctioned, phones froze, and every digital photo taken turned completely black. Then the power went out. Emergency lights flickered, red. A single camera clicked somewhere in the dark. Security footage showed no one near it. Yet every person present was caught, looking directly into the lens. The next morning, authorities entered the gallery. All paintings were blank. Every frame empty. Not a single guest was found. Only whispers echoed through the halls. They say Elias's spirit still walks among us, holding that cursed lens. Each century it finds a new owner, someone desperate enough to seek fame or truth. And if you ever feel a sudden flash in the dark, don't look back. He might have just taken your picture.